up? It's the Tim Stevenson Show.
What's up, and welcome to another edition of the Tim Stevenson Show. Today, my guest is an actor. He's a producer. He's a comedian, Mr. Mathew Nye.
Moet Inc.
Please observe the fasten seatbelt sign.
Keep it in the closet.
What we're about to do right now, we're about to get wild. What we're about to do right now, we're about to get crunk.
He's cold as ice.
It starts with you.
How do I look?
You look fantastic, brother.
Don't you lie to me.
I'm just saying. Kind of sexy beast, man. What is up, man? How have you been?
Pretty good, dude. Pretty good. Same old, same old.
Living in Los Angeles, doing that thing, man.
Yeah. Surviving, struggling, thriving, all that good shit.
I was in LA, what, 3-4 weeks ago for like a minute because Kayla was moving out of her apartment.
Said you didn't come say hi?
I forgot you was there. I was like, shit. I was like COVID crazy, dude. There were 11 people on my flight on a big ass JetBlue plane.
Oh shit. Was it a cheap flight?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was like $100 round trip or some shit. Yeah, I was like, sweet. And then it shot up to like 500 like 2 weeks later.
Oh shit.
Up for all that crap. You know what I mean?
People are flying again. How's she doing? Is she coming back or is
she's still there? So she moved to San Clemente, and then she got that's Orange County, so down south, basically right before Camp Pendleton, right?
Oh,
so she moved down there, and then she got a new boyfriend, and they went to Hawaii. So she got quarantined on purpose for 2 weeks. So she's still there. Yeah,
that's not too shabby.
I was like, Hawaii by a pool next to the ocean.
It's not a bad gig.
One thing better than that is what's his face from what's the dude from Rockaware? What's his name? Russell? No, not Jay-Z. I'm thinking of some of that. Oh, I'm thinking of Russell Simmons.
Oh,
right?
Def Jam.
Bali. He's quarantined in a mansion in Bali. Yeah, dog.
Okay, I'd say if you're gonna do it.
I mean, if you got it like that, I'm not mad. I would do the same shit. I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to take myself to Branson's private island and chill out for like 3 months.
It'd be nice.
Just import some shit. You know what I mean?
Stay in a guest house.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So what have you been doing? I know between what? Music, movies, comedy, music, TV.
I can't dance. I'm writing a lot too, I've taken advantage of the quarantine.
Yeah.
I'm writing a lot, but now I'm forced to be like, play video games all night or write, and then I feel like shit. And then I just play like video games and I feel like shit for hours.
The video game world must be crazy right now because everybody was at home for a minute at least. Everybody was at home. So everybody's
I'm not player games, so like I'm not really in the loop with like what's mostly popular. But Last of Us 2 just came out and that shit was dope.
Oh damn!
It was super dope. Yeah.
See, I'm a horrible gamer because I don't really play. So Eddie, my buddy, plays. I know Nico plays, and I'm like, I still got like Max Payne 1. Just like
game. It's one of the best.
I love it. I love that first player game. I mean, that's first person game. I like that. All the other games, I tried to play one of the war games. I forget my buddy Eddie was playing, and I just was like, I couldn't get in a helicopter. I couldn't get in a tank. I was like, damn, I don't play enough to like be good.
You're facing with the fact that you have become an old man.
Yeah,
We're old. We're getting old now.
I'm like
you're a little older than I am. Like not by that much. I don't think.
I'm like 10 years older than you at least.
Yeah, so I mean, you should have had a Nintendo somewhere.
I had Nintendo. I mean, I actually had an Xbox and a Wii, but before that, I had Atari, Intellivision, ColecoVision, right?
Wait, so when did you fall out, man? When did we lose you?
I think he lost me at like Miss Pac-Man 2 or some shit. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I played Halo for a minute on Xbox, and then I just was like, I guess I was busy. I was on tour a lot. I didn't have time to really play. And then when you suck and getting your ass kicked by 8-year-olds, you're like,
that's why I don't do there, man. I can't that type of pain. That's a deep pain right there.
Dude, kids are dope. I'm like, I saw a kid playing Fortnite and some other shit. I'm like, now graphics stupid sick and dope right now.
Yeah.
All that shit is amazing. I'm like, this shit looks real. I'm like in this world. I mean, it was so real. They put a Black Lives Matter protest in the middle of Grand Theft Auto or some shit, right? You know, right? They're just like, hey, just add this real quick. Ready to go. Like, boom. I was like,
just show here on this road.
Like you could do.
We'll really take it to war with the police.
You get lost inside that damn world. It's like,
yeah.
Do you play with Nico still, or what's up with that?
No, but that's the thing. I don't really play online.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I'm more like an immersive. I like single player.
Get closer to your. Are you on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, because your voice is fading in and out.
Oh no.
Well,
that's one of my best qualities.
You're like, I gotta talk. You gotta hear you.
Yeah, you must hear. How's that?
That's much better. Dude, I saw you. What was that clip you sent me that was dope? With that dude from Stranger Things, I think he's from. What's that? Is that what he's from? No, not Stranger Things. The guy, there was a guy, an actor in that bit where you're in there and he's like, just go along with the story. And you're like, oh yeah, so I came through the door, right?
Yeah. He's in a lot of shit.
I think he's in Stranger Things. I think he's 11's dad. Well, not dad, but like he's the cop, he's the sheriff, but he like kind of takes him out.
No.
Is that him?
I know. No, that's not him.
That's not him? Oh, okay.
That guy's fucking great. No, but the dude, the one in mine is great too, though. He's been in shit. I mean, he was in like Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's like a a lot of stuff.
I like to watch that. It's a good show.
But yeah, he's got that look. He's like a big, protective guy. Yeah.
He liked it. Like he was sitting there, he was like reading. He was like, you were doing the script and he was like reading your words. He was like, oh yeah, because he wrote the words to the script, right? I was like, dude, I like that shit is funny.
Thank you.
Was that a pilot or is that an actual film that's coming out or?
So that's a project I've been doing for a little bit. It's so I started it as it was going to be a pilot for a TV show, and I had all these ideas of what was going to come next. And then the truth is, man, it's so hard to get a TV show going, and without a showrunner, without like the right connect TV show, at least in my network,
right,
be more of a difficult task. So we kind of repurposed some of the footage, and we're getting some funding to reshoot a little bit of it, but shoot some more stuff and basically make it a feature. It took a little bit of work because I had to restructure the story to where the way that the story ended was a great punchline. Well, not a punch, but it was a great what's going to happen next?
Right.
But now I have to answer all that with the script. But it's dope, man. I mean, we shot everything in red. We got a bunch of great actors in it. Like Oba Babatunde's in it, who was he's been in everything, dude. But he was the what I know him most for him was like How High. Where he played or not the principal, the dean of the college. You remember he had the edible and everything?
Yes.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff, but he's in it. And Josh Sussman from all those Nickelodeon shows and shit. It's cool. Everyone's really well casted.
Nice.
It's good. It's dope. I just gotta finish it.
So then you're trying to get a showrunner to get it on, because right now, like between Netflix, Hulu, Amazon,
there's a lot of options.
Any of them?
No, that's what I was saying. Is I'm not really looking for a showrunner because I decided to just turn it into a feature. So I mean, it'd be great to get up. It hasn't been greenlit or anything. It's a personal project. Got it. So with a TV show, if we finish it and it doesn't get picked up, okay, great job. It's all in it's done. Right. But with a movie, either pick it up or not pick it up, I can throw it into the circuits. We can do it on the independent route and see where it'll go.
These are options now. There's a lot of
networks. A lot more for sure.
And a lot of them, there's a lot of new ones coming up that I've heard of because I've kind of been in this weird place where people call me and go, hey, I just did this deal with Build-A-Bear and Warner Chappell and iHeart. I'm like, huh? And what happened was Build-A-Bear is, like the pop-up show Build-A-Bear shit, like you go in there and make teddy bears like for kids and shit, right?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Yeah, but they actually, in the background, they sell so much merchandise, partnered with Warner to build a kids network like Nickelodeon and like Disney Plus to make films, do radio, kids shows, all kinds of crap, right? Because everyone's on that digital plan. That's where the money's at. And Spotify's doing the same thing, starting a TV division. So you can do like Apple TV, you can do Spotify TV, you know, and just so many options of submitting your stuff to like these different digital networks, because that's everyone's got a smart TV. That's where it is. You know what I mean? Like TV is good, but I mean, I know a bunch of people are on Netflix and you're like, you don't even know who they are because they're on Netflix. If you don't have Netflix, you don't know they're stars, right?
Yeah. And they use a lot of the same people. It does seem like that. It's almost like back in the days when they had, you know, like certain celebrities were signed to certain studios, you know. Right. So like if you're watching an MGM film, you know, you'd see, you know, Marilyn Monroe or whatever. But if you're watching Paramount, you'd see like, you know, I mean, I don't fucking know. I wasn't there, but that's
right.
like the way.
Well, it's because they have people who do that, like within their team. They're like, okay, we're doing a 5-picture deal with this person's company. And then that person always places like like you said, they're people. Like if you're in like the Seth Rogen camp, whatever, you know, or Judd Apatow camp, you're in that camp. Or if you're in Sandler's camp, you're in that camp. And they're all working all the time.
Well, and also, man, even with more opportunities to submit to more places, a lot of those people like the Seth Rogens and all these people have production companies. In fact, almost any relevant actor nowadays has some sort of production company. And I only say relevant because a lot of the stuff that they're in, they're producing themselves. So, you know, I mean, look, like, you know, go look up Brad Pitt as a producer. There's a bunch of movies he's not even in that, you know, they all have production companies. So they have like these tiny like pocket companies. So a lot of these places like Netflix and things like that, it's not that easy to get into because a lot of times, you know, they're like, oh yeah, great. Well, we're talking to, you know, Seth Rogen's company, or we're talking to, you know, the producer. And it's like, all right, well, who the fuck is,
like, how you got to compete with that?
Right.
So then what do you do? Like, how do you, I guess if you don't have a showrunner, what do you do? I mean, do you figure out, it's all about who you know, and how to slide past that person and get it to
I mean, to be 100% honest, not trying to like, you know, the opposite of brag, but like, you know, I don't know. I mean, so for me, you know, I'm an actor, so I've lucked out and gotten into a couple of, you know, cool productions here and there that I got hired on, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, dope. I'm so get hired on, but I've been trying to produce projects on my own for a long time. It takes funding to finish it. It is a business. So like when I'm done playing crazy director or crazy writer, you know, creating something really cool, there's still, you know, there's the post production, there's, do you have a sales agent? You know what I mean? It all takes money and it takes business savvy, and there's real producers that know what they're doing. And the more that you know, the more you know how little you know type of thing. Right. But once you start to like meet the right people, you can get stuff done. I mean, I got half of my pilot produced until we moved. You know, I mean, that's why you saw, you know, what we saw, the film's half done. Yeah. But, you know, I still got to get more funding. So, I mean, I would say, unfortunately, I'm the wrong person to ask because I'm still trying to break through with some of the bigger projects. Like as an actor, I've gotten to do stuff, but I didn't produce it. So I couldn't tell you how those motherfuckers got the funding. You know what I mean?
And even big stars sometimes have trouble funding films, which is amazing to me.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I was trying to help fund a film for Olivia Newton-John. And because I know her nephew, I hired him to do some videos for me. And even then, man, you could say Olivia Newton-John's name all day. People love her. But no one's writing a check. You know what I mean?
Dude, at least, and when I say this is probably mostly for the independent route. But a lot of times you'll find that the people that want to fund films, because movies take a lot of money, man. Like even if you're talking a low budget, it might be like almost $1 billion, you know?
Nowadays,
away. And most people that make money, they're you know, if I know that I can go buy a plastic spoon making company that's going to make a shit ton of money, and I'm a smart investor and all I care about is, you know, I'm comfortable with who I am and I'm maybe kind of normal, I probably invest in a plastic spoon company. But sometimes people, either A, you have everything, right? Your fucking name in lights, or you want to hang out with celebrities, you want to go do cocaine.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I met those.
Those are the guys who end up funding projects. So you also have to deal with some really insane personalities when you're trying to make shit on a lower budget level, because who's going to fund things? Psychopaths. That's who's going to fund these
Pretty
things.
much.
Absolute lunatic.
Yeah. People, like you said, though, they want to be around celebrities or be on a set and feel like a bigwig, and maybe they've never done that.
No. Well, there's also people that just love the film, though, but that's rare. LA's full of corrupted people. So you have somewhere out there is a guy who lucked out and found an investor who's got money, who's level-headed, who wants to just make projects, and they found a good business plan. I'm sure a lot of that exists, but there's also a lot of really like weird personalities. But I mean,
especially in Hollywood. I mean, so what do you do? I mean, Hollywood's a saturated market, but a lot of people are moving outside of Hollywood to do films and produce films, specifically because Hollywood's crazy, right? So Atlanta, Texas, like Seattle, Austin, like, places like that. Even here in Miami, they're building production studios because they're shooting people in Fast and Furious and Bad Boys or whatever out anyway. But
wherever the tax break, you know what I mean?
Especially now, LA is expensive. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for
sure. Let's go over there, build a studio, and just do it there. Tyler Perry, boom. You know what I mean? It's like it's probably way cheaper there than it is in Hollywood. But Hollywood is Hollywood, But getting around all the crap, because I was trying to pitch a couple shows, and I still have one that's in lieu, but we didn't have a real showrunner, but I had a lot of connections to like Netflix and some other places. So they were trying to put it in there. And I've been in that space before where I was pitching a TV show. I was at E! with Ryan Seacrest's company. I was at Viacom. I was at Sony. Everybody wants to, twist your idea to fit their agenda, because then they have more real estate in your project.
Yeah. And you also got to have a project that fits what their
lineup is or whatever. That's why I like that digital space. Now, like comedians, you know this, right? So they shoot their own specials and then they just sell it to Netflix, right? Because Netflix isn't going, here's a budget. They just have the budget and they go, well, depending on what kind of numbers you move, you may get 20 million or you may get 5. You know what I mean? But I've seen comedians on there that I'm like, they're okay, but they're on Netflix. So they're doing something right.
I think it's either business savvy, they hired an entertainment lawyer that had a connection. I mean, that's a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really all who you know, man. I mean, like I could even say the last 2 movies that I did, which were really cool opportunities. I got to work with like Jeremy Piven in one. I got to work with, the Kevin Smith crew, like, Jason Mewes and all them in the other one. Right. So that all happened. I met some people. And they liked my comedy, and the guy happened to be writing a movie. He's like, yo, dude, I'm gonna write something for you. We had an idea for this character. We didn't really pitch it. We didn't really cast it. And they called me one day randomly, and I did it. Okay. So I did that. And then the guy who's the DP on that was in another film with like, what's the name? Dude that played Superman and shit. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So like I got a film with him. And then one of the, associate or assistant directors hired me again for another one. So, I mean, it's like, even most of the shit that I get is from people that I've met through working and doing, doing my best. Yeah. So people on any level
is everything.
What's up?
Is that who is everything in Hollywood?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Sure. Because I've knocked down doors. Like I kind of swayed to like the music and management side for a bit. Nice. And I got this girl on the radio, Tony Bon Jovi, as an artist here, and I got her on the radio in Europe on 50 stations. And here they're like, oh, she needs 1 million views on Instagram. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have this guy call. So this guy calls, but he's damn near mafia. You know what I mean? So like when he calls, people answer the phone, and then I had like all kinds of crazy, like Ori Spotto calling my cell phone. I'm like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like mobsters like, hey, what do you need? I'm like, oh, because this guy said, call Tim. And then this guy calls me and I'm like, we're just trying to get her on the radio. But then they make calls to
about this music deal I wanted to
right. Well, it's like it's weird things fall into my lap. Like, I'm managing a kid in Costa de Casa. His family has all kinds of money, but he's one of those, I would call him like a typical Malibu kid, right? Never had a regular job. He's wearing like $9,000 in clothes every day. Wants to be an artist, but he doesn't want to do the work, right? So we get him to the point where he kind of wants to do the work. But then things fall off. I got him with the best vocal coach in LA. I had like Katy Perry's band and dudes from Rob Thomas playing for him. And then he would like not show up to rehearsal because he can, and he just goes home. And they gift him a $7 million house on the beach. So, and then I got a dude who works his ass off who has no money.
Why, you know, why?
What'd you say?
No, I'm just saying, why would he work? He's got everything that the reason why we all strive to work. He's already got it. I mean, you know.
Yeah, and I get it, but you're like, but he's saying like, I want to do this music, and he's actually a pretty good writer. Right. A little on the dark side, you know, but it's good and it works for like soundtracks and other stuff. But he just was one of those guys. I'm like, how many times are you going to burn bridges because people aren't vibing off you in the room? You know what I mean? So it lasted about 3.5 years, you know, and then that kind of went away. And then now I got this girl, but she's a hard worker, but Tony Bon Jovi's producing her stuff. So it's legit. And then I'm working on some other random ones in like different countries. Cause now it's like a worldly thing. Cause with everybody being online and being digital, you know, it's like you can just be everywhere and not be everywhere, you know? And the music industry has changed. The record labels are almost obsolete. You don't really need them if you have the right connects, right? The DJs are super powerful because if Aoki or David Guetta or any of these dudes are rocking your record, you're rocking. Most kids listen to Spotify other than the radio. But dudes like Ebro and like DJ Envy and Big Boy, still powerful entities in the business, you know, but they're on Clear Channel, Intercom, and iHeart's payroll. So they, you know, they're powerful dudes. They can do whatever they want, you know?
Yeah.
DJ should make $100,000 at a pool party in Vegas. I would love to do that. You know what I mean? You're like, boom, press play because I already pre-recorded 30 minutes of my set, right? Have a couple drinks and be like, peace, $100,000 in cash. Bye. You know what I mean? I'd do that. You know, I suck at DJing, so I don't know.
Well, doing something else.
I know, you know, but just
that's the world we live in, man. It's changing. It's changing. You gotta move with the times. A friend of mine, he's always pushing, man. Do more social media and stuff. Like I got my Instagram and shit going and all that, but like little videos here and there. But I don't really I don't put as much into it as I should because, you know, there's that ego in me. I'm like, you know, I was trained by Tim Robbins, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I'm a thespian. But, you know, if you want to make it a career, it's good to have numbers. I mean, that's the world we live in. You know, you can walk in an audition. I heard this from a friend of mine who's in casting. She was doing this thing, and there was a woman there she didn't know, one of the assistants or whatever. Right. And every time they walked in, she would yell out a number, you know, like 72,000 or 15,000, and with whatever that number was, the directors and also this was for a commercial, so this wasn't really acting. Probably wasn't the big thing. It was more about representing a product. Okay. But the client, so when I say director, I think it's more the client was more interested in these numbers. So at the end, the casting director, because most of these people, like when it comes to film and TV, a lot of their budget is marketing. You know, and the other thing is this too: if you got a huge social media following. I mean, obviously that gives you power, but the truth is, I mean, at least in my opinion, your fans are used to watching you for free on a social media platform. So if you're a shitty actor, but you're a great entertainer with like, hey, I'm going to go shopping and fuck with people. Right. But if you're a crappy actor, just because somebody likes you, if you end up being in a movie and you were shit in the movie, no one's going to be paying to see you do shit. No. So me, I have a firm belief that no matter what, whether you got the following or not, eventually my work will speak for itself, and I'll get more, and that works for me. I mean, I ain't rich, but I've done things like there's people that will be like, oh wow, you did this scene with a big actor. They go crazy over it. And for me, fuck the scene. I want to be the big actor. I want to be, I want to make art. You know, I did a play where I was one of the main characters, and I had 50 pages of dialogue, and I made the audience laugh, and I made those motherfuckers cry, and it was beautiful. And then the play's done, and I still got to prove myself every time I do every audition I go to, because nobody knows, and that shit can get a little like. So for me, I just want to get to the point where like I'm respected in the art that I'm at. I don't need to be a millionaire, but I'd like to make some money. And that was my point that I was saying, is that with music going this way and things going that way and everything, I do believe that anybody that has something, a talent, and if it's a niche, right? Yeah. It's just a thing that you're good at. You're the best tuba playing motherfucker in 2020.
Right. Yeah.
You don't need the whole world to love you. You don't need, it'd be great to be, a sensation or whatever. I mean, it might be a little weird, but money-wise, at least would be great. The truth is, you could be an independent artist of any type and have a substantial income if you have a fan, and if that fan continuously taking in your crafts. So I don't know what the fuck the answer is. I'm half rambling, but that's my point. Is like,
but that's what it is. I mean, you could be. I mean, there's dudes who they're not big on television or they're not big on the radio, but they're selling out concerts and doing shit all day long. They got millions of dollars in the bank. Just because they don't get hit up by TMZ doesn't mean anything.
Exactly.
Because even Aries Spears talks about that. Aries is like,
I love him.
You know, he'd be like, people think I fell off, but I just got paid $80,000 to do 30 minutes in Dubai. I fell off, right? Because you're not as big as Kevin Hart or somebody else. Yeah. So they don't fall off. They're making bank.
But, and also the way things are designed now too. This goes to like back to kind of the conspiracy theorist in me, but I think of like Tupac, and I think of like, you know, when you have like a real artist that can have a movement behind them by giving people power, you're now giving power to an entity that you might know what that entity's goal is, right? So it could be against the goal of the powers that gave that entity the recognition to begin with. So what I mean by that is, you look like back in the days, and you got like Rolling Stones, right?
Right.
To this day, these motherfuckers are 80 years old, and they can put on a concert, and people are going to go. There's still people that are like, oh, look at his lips. They're hanging off his fucking skeleton face.
Yes.
I just want to kiss him. You know what I mean? They're idols forever. And then for some reason, I've noticed that at some point they made a switch where it's all flavors of the week. Everybody sounds the same. So if you sound like the other dude sounds, and the other dude sounds like the other dude sounds, if they kick you off, you know, if you end up getting some ideas, or you end up getting maybe I can help the world instead of not doing and then people will follow you. But if they're like, oh, yo, that dude's lame, you got his ass beat at the mall, and then the next guy comes out with the same music, this dude beat someone's ass at the mall, so he didn't get his ass kicked at the mall, he won the fight at the mall. Oh, well, let's listen to his music because he won that fight, and they sound exactly the fucking same, so it doesn't matter who. Anyway.
I.e. mumble rap, but I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And also the fact, the disrespect of the older hip hop, the way a lot of dudes are like this. Like, I don't think anyone in rock and roll ever came out like, fuck the Beatles, you know what I'm saying? Like,
seriously, you know what I'm saying? There's like zero respect, but that's that millennial thing. Like, I'm dope. Everyone says they're the king. I'm the king in New York. You and the other 5 dudes who sound just like you, y'all got the same hair, the same braids. You all say after every beat. It's the same shit, but they're getting rewarded, so they think they're like kings. You know, but the real kings are like, really? Like Snoop, Ice Cube, people like that, Tupac, people that are still around. There's a few cats that I admire, like Kendrick, I like.
They give you.
I'm actually okay with DaBaby. I think his stuff is, you can actually hear what he's saying, so I actually like him. And a couple of people was like, Yachty had like one song that I thought was dope, but a lot of these dudes like Trippie Redd, I'm like, I don't get it. So I'm just kind of like, because it's not really different than the next dude who looks just like you, who sounds just like you. But the kids love that shit, and they show up, and those kids are paid.
But my point is that for artists that, let's say, are coming out now that are like, fuck, face tat, and if I fail in music, I can't get a job.
Yeah, right.
I better make it.
It's a good thing Post Malone is good, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you'd be fucked. But like my point is like, for the kids that are trying to do shit now, if that's not the shit they vibe with, there's still a fan base. Like, you still got people like Rhymesayer. Bro, I follow like Rhymesayers and all them on Instagram. Okay. And like Atmosphere just had a new music video. Like, what the fuck? You know, they've been doing it for 30 years. So I mean, you could make. I'm not the biggest Atmosphere fan just because but I respect the shit out of him and his lyricism and stuff. But my point is like, you can do whatever it is you want to do. Right. And be successul if you keep pushing, or not. I don't know. Life's hard, man.
You can tour though. So this cat, Futuristic, right? Right. I know him because I saw a video. He did this thing called Nerds Rap in Compton, and then all of a sudden, I was like following his music. I had him on my iPod, and then
he's going around pretending to have the like Steve Urkel in it.
Yeah, sounding to be like Steve Urkel, and he would just rap. Yeah, he kills it, right? So dope. Cut to Martin Kurzenbaum works at Universal Music, right? And Cherry Tree calls me in and goes, I need you to go see this kid, Huey Mack. I'm thinking about signing him. Maybe I'm doing some management stuff for him. He's out of Virginia, but he's really big in the college circuit. I'm like, all right, cool. So they send me back to Orange County to go watch him. And Futuristic is the opening act, right? I didn't know that. And I get there, and then like Futuristic walks up to me. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Well, I was sitting here by Cherry Tree to look at Huey, whatever." And I do this, that, and the other. And me and his manager got to talking. But it was a trip because Futuristic has been on tour for a minute, like him and Devon Terrell and these other cats, and they're always sold out. They don't even need a record label at that point. Like they just do their own merch. They make their own money.
Why would you want to owe? Why would you want to owe somebody else at that point?
I wouldn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Record label's a bank, right? So you're just paying money back out the ass, and they own you forever. Yeah. Especially now because of social media and who you know. Like Chance, it's like if you know cats, you're good. You end up on their records. They end up in your videos. You're good. You make your own money. You hire the people to do the deals. Boom. Now you got all the top people saying they want you to tour. You know what I mean? They're just popping off left and right. And there's a few cats like that who are already in. Like I remember going to South by Southwest, and I was sitting in a room, and all Jermaine Dupri's people flooded the VIP room because they were doing a special show. Well, they didn't know who I was. They just thought I was a record label exec. So they're all asking me questions. And all these kids, they sign a bunch of these kids, like Chicago rappers and Atlanta rappers, and they all kind of mold them into the same kind of artist. And they each one kind of emerge a little bit in their areas, but none of them ever really like boom, unless they fucking sell their soul and now they're in Nicki Minaj's video, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're good to go, but it's a weird space because they're asking me like all these weird questions, and I'm like, save your money. That's number one. You know what I mean? We all know that a lot of this shit is flaunting. We all know that your manager rolls up to your house and says, "Hey, we're gonna do this video where you're like pulling out 20 grand in cash out of your ass and wearing $1 million chain." But I'm looking at his background and he's living in a shitty apartment somewhere in Hell's Kitchen. I'm like, like, you know what I mean? Because they're just kind of doing that. I need the side. I need the street side, but I'm really not street. That's how Tekashi got in trouble. But like,
it's all just the same shit too. Like, look at me, I'm flashy, blah, blah. Back in the day, my growing up, my favorite artist was always Tupac, and then when I was younger, was definitely Trick Daddy. Like I love and I like based on a true story and like Thug.com and stuff. So like I remember when that shit was coming out, he did a music video for America, which is a song where he's basically like saying "fuck America," and it's like a crazy dope song. He goes real hard on it, real deep on it too. But the point is, in the music video, his beard was all scruffy. It was half grown here and not grown there. Like he didn't give a fuck. And the whole point, like I'm not like, you've seen me in videos with my Impala, whatever. I've catered to that. But this out, they're struggling out here. This is me in my fucking tank top. This is this is what I got to say. And I miss that about art in general, man. Like you look at like Woodstock and see these dudes just like probably high out of their fucking mind, but putting their soul in.
Oh yeah.
And they're ugly as fuck. Like a bunch of balding ass, hairy chest, shirt ripped, sweaty, because none of that shit mattered. It was the music. Right. And once all that other glamour and all that other shit came, in my opinion, gets involved, it's almost like, hey, I don't have any substance. I can't compete with Otis Redding's voice. So let me go on stage with some bells and whistles and glisten in the fucking light. Right. And it's like, just focus on people that have Otis Redding's voice. You know what I'm saying? Like, why can't we just sign talented fucking people?
That's why I like the NPR Tiny Desk sessions, because they do real shit on there.
Love that shit.
And it's all like, you can tell this is what they do. They hone in on their craft. And then you see artists like T-Pain sing without an auto-tune just to let everybody know, yo, I could do this shit.
Oh, you spit. Yeah, you remember him? Robbery now, get on the ground.
Right. That's what I mean. I was like, this dude's no joke, man. The auto-tune is part of his act. But he can actually spit and do all kinds of stuff. Like, boom, like that. I saw Miguel on there. And it's now I get like weird people that I haven't seen before. And I like that because I go see their concerts. And they'll be like
obscure shit that you don't know about. Like I saw this something in the Broken Bones. You know what I'm talking about? Saint something in the I wish I had the name to give him a plug. This dude's voice was insane. But yeah, man, it's
there's a lot of talent. Now, what about stand up? Are you still doing any of the comedy, like stand up comedy?
I mean, right now, no, just because obviously everything's closed off. But yeah, I've been doing a lot
of. Actually, still closed off. In LA, but comedy clubs.
Dude, I'm so out of the fucking loop. Like the other day, I went to go visit a friend. Actually, I went to go see one of my managers, and I was talking to him about some stuff, and it was on Hollywood. He was like, "Yo, let's get a drink," and I'm like, "Can we do that?" Like I was scared.
You can.
Yeah, I guess some things are open now, so it's slowly. I feel like I'm just waking up, bro. Like I was hibernating. You know, I was a bear. I gained some weight, got real fat.
Dude, I put on like the COVID-19 and I shed some of it off.
Yeah.
I'm still working on it. You know what I mean? But I'm like just home eating, watching fucking TV, doing shit on the computer, not really exercising a whole lot. I get it. You know,
it's the one thing. It gives you an excuse to be lazy without all the pressure of life. It's like, shit, you know what? I should pay my rent. I don't know how I'm gonna pay my rent. I don't care. That's kind of cool.
And everyone's being lenient for a minute, but now we're into that third month. Now they're like, I'm on my rent. You know what I mean? So I was curious if you're doing comedy because I think what DL just passed out on stage. So I'm like, he's at a comedy club. So.
I saw that. I love him, man. He's fucking.
Yeah.
I hope he's. I didn't. Did you see an update on that or no?
Yeah, I think he's okay. I mean, he did like a little Twitter thing where he was okay. Yeah. But he got tested and he's got COVID. But that's not the reason why he passed out. He got tested positive, but he's asymptomatic. So we didn't know he was sick. He didn't have any symptoms. But he's one of those dudes that don't sleep. You know what I mean? Like, he got his show. He got a podcast show. He's doing road shit. He's probably up writing all night long. He just doesn't sleep.
That torn shit is that shit's no joke, man. I mean, you know, it's hard to not, you know, plus, like, I'm not sure if he's sober or not, but I mean, you know, drinking all the time and being up all those clubs, you know, that shit. I mean, in my opinion, it's a hell of a lot easier than working a day job. That's why, you know,
right.
Get to do what you love, but
right.
No, it's not easy. And then you got to be at the places at a certain time. You know what I mean? There's a lot of pressure with travel constantly.
So when I was in Cali, I mean, this is before all that David or George Floyd shit. So there was no rioting and whatever, but they had just opened up some beaches and I kind of cruised down and then I cruised through Malibu. I was like, man, some people are social distancing. A whole bunch of other people, they're like, I don't give a fuck. They're just like, whatever. If I get it, I get it.
There's always going to be people that, you know, that do it, fuck whatever they want to do. You know?
Here in Florida, it's even worse because it's a haven for summertime partiers anyway.
Yeah, I saw all they were still doing spring break and shit.
Dude,
like,
it's bananas. You're like,
how many grandmas died, you know, this year?
Well, and they're not going to spend. I mean, they had law enforcement down at the beach because Kayla had a model shoot right at kind of the beginning of all of it, and you couldn't go on the sand, but you can go on the walkway. But when we were on the walkway, some of the hotels were having pool parties. We're like, that's okay. Like you could do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no one's stopping you. There's cops everywhere. No one's going there going, hey, you gotta shut this shit down. There was like, and now we have this this spike because everything opened up with restrictions. But we went to this place the other day and I was like, do we have to wear a mask? They're like, nope, just like that. I don't give a fuck.
You know, I think a lot of it too is the South in general is always a little hesitant to follow any type of federal demand. Like it's got that heart in it. So like a lot of those, even cities and counselors, I don't believe in that shit. Like you know, it's a social trick to put us in, you know, like whatever the fuck they're thinking.
Fuck the government. This is militia land. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're like, okay, right? Dude, it's crazy. And then now I've been fielding fucking retarded racist questions all the time. I'm like, if I have to answer one stupid question about race, about cops, about people, about Black Lives Matter, about Antifa, about Latifah and Queen Latifah, you know what I mean? All kinds of stupid shit, you know what I mean? It's like, dude, just be smart and don't be stupid. How about that? How about we just,
it's funny because it's like one of those things, like it's okay to disagree, but you know, it's not when it's not certain things. It's not about disagreeing. It's like some things are just black and white. Like there's just certain things you just like. I'm a Democrat. I've always been a liberal Democrat. Mm-hmm. So my best friend in the world is a Republican. He's always been far back as I can remember. Right. He's conservative Christian. This is my best friend. This is my road dog since we were little kids. All right. We will argue until our faces are blue on certain things, right? Uh-huh. Also, he's black and I'm white. It's like it's a completely different human being with completely experience. He was in foster care. Jesus saved his life. the people that were the biggest influence on him that helped him out of the streets were conservative Christians. You know what I'm saying? Me, I grew up with my dad, who's a liberal hippie. You know what I'm saying? We have different heroes and different things.
Right. Yeah.
One thing we don't disagree on is the dude got murdered, and shit sometimes needs to be fucking set on fire. All right? Because there's a basic. So my point is that I've had a best friend. I'm not one of these people. I don't unfriend you for most things. I'm not like, I'm not culture. I'm not into any of that shit. If you want to be a racist fucking bigot, let your fucking thoughts be known, so we know not to let you be in charge of hiring people. So we know that, and also so we can see your shit. Because, you know, racism is ignorance and stupidity. It's all that. If you let it talk about itself for long enough, it's going to make a fool of itself. So if you go ahead and give it the platform, let Roseanne's fat ass have a fucking TV show. Why not? Let her talk about how stupid. I mean, that's my opinion.
Right.
That's not. My point is that I can have a friendship that I've fostered since I was a kid with somebody who's on a different political situation than I've been in life. And we disagree on some real basic things. I mean, I think the prison system is the most evil fucking thing. It's a new form of slavery. He thinks that law and order is important to keep people safe. There's got to be a medium ground. But when you talk about people's lives, like the second somebody doesn't care that a dude was, it is racism. You don't care. His life isn't as important. You feel if it happened to you or your son, you'd care. So it's an inferiority. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I don't find, first of all, I don't even like getting into conversations with people that claim to agree, that are all pro that shit now too. Right. Because regurgitated memes and all that shit. Like, I don't know if your dad made you sit down and listen to, you know, Huey P. Newton speak. Mine did. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what, you know, if you were said the N-word with a hard ER in middle school, but now suddenly you're marching, like, and it's weird like that. I have that weird feeling where like, I've been down for this shit since day one. That's also the wrong way to feel, because also at the same time, the whole wide world, it seems, is on the right side of things for the first time. And so it's like
better. It feels better. It feels like people are, because I think younger generations get it a little bit better. They come up in a different space. Yeah. And then older generations who've kind of already changed their ways is always good. But like, I have this conversation, and I check black people and white people. You know, I check black people for telling other people what to do. Stop telling people what to do. If they want to put a black square, let them put a black square. If they want to go out and protest, let them protest. There's no bigger or lesser way to say like you like or don't like something, right? But it's the people who jump to like, if you say Black Lives Matter and they're like, all lives matter. I'm like, okay, we get that there's radicals in every group, including Black Lives Matter. We get that. But what I'm saying is, if your fucking daughter falls on the fucking ground and breaks her knee and somebody says, call an ambulance, and I go, all kids matter. You know what I mean?
That's the obvious defense. But you know what the problem is, that what that, even that defense, in my opinion, what that does is that it's putting logic to something that is really it's
illogical, right?
It's logical, and it's also ignoring the main fact that you're talking to somebody who doesn't see your life as important.
Right.
So it doesn't really matter what you say.
True.
Because that's their view is so askew that it doesn't matter. It's a whole nother thing. My point I was making earlier with like, part of me sometimes gets mad at seeing how many people are even pro Black Lives Matter, because I just don't believe them, even though it's better in their corner, even if, like you said, they're just awakening. But my thing is, I remember this quote, I'll never forget it. Mm-hmm. It was this Holocaust survivor. It was an older woman, obviously an older woman. But she basically, she was like known in her small town for being the Holocaust survivor. Right. And so this news company, I think CNN or somebody, they went to go do an interview with her, right? And when they went to do an interview with her, they had this like notebook with like 10, 15 questions. And she's an old woman. She looks at the notebook. She goes, look, do me a favor, come back next week and ask me one question. And they're like, well, why just one? And she goes, because if you can only ask me one question, you're going to ask me the right question. And that doesn't have to do with the point of what we're talking about, but I just love that part of it. But anyway, they come back a week later, and the question they ask her is, what have you learned from humanity? You know, being through one of the worst atrocities that we know of to this date, that's reported in recent history, even though it's happening everywhere all the time. And history, what have you learned from humanity? And she said the dopest shit I ever fucking heard in my life, man. She goes, I learned that 10% of this world is inherently good, can't be moved, can't be shaken. That's what they are. They'll put their life on the line for good. 10% of this world is inherently fucking evil. Same thing. Can't change their mind, can't shake them, can't do anything. Right. She goes, the other 80%, they'll listen to whoever the fuck gets to them first.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's, it's right now it's the hip thing to do to be with it. But I've been with it since day one. I think a lot of people get mad at me, on shit, but I loved when I saw the city burning. I know that it affects innocent people. War has casualties, right. And maybe it'll get me in trouble saying, but I believe that the only way to make a change is to hurt somebody in the money. And the truth be told, a lot of small business owners, they don't own that fucking property. They rent that property. It's the property who needs that rent money, who's making the real money. And a lot of bad things happen in these situations. But at the same time, like the Revolutionary War wasn't like, we didn't pat the fucking British on the back and say, oh, we're going to go on our own now. There was explosion.
Like, can you name any change in the paradigm of this world without conflict? Conflict always happens.
They called the Haitians fucking monsters for fighting to save their own fucking land against the French. Bro, you can't win no matter what you do. No. So you might as well do what's right for you and your family and your people. And it's the same shit, bro. You can go watch the Rodney King things. You got police departments saying all lives matter wasn't a thing because Black Lives Matter wasn't a thing as a term. The same situation. But they would shut any, they'd be like, all right, what we need to do is speak. Like the white guy would be like, well, what we need to do is start a conversation. And then somebody would start a conversation. He's like, well, we're not here to talk about that today.
Yeah, exactly.
Going on from day one, dude. So I don't know.
It's just a clusterfuck of shit right now. And I'm kind of over it. Like I had a huge argument with my brother-in-law, again, Black, hardcore Republican. And he calls me and the first thing out of his mouth was like, I want to educate you on something. And I go, stop right there. Stop trying to teach me shit. Stop trying to tell me how the Democratic Party was funding the KKK back in the day and all this other bullshit. I go, that's not relevant to my life right now. I got to deal with now. If we don't, as humans,
look, there's truth. Like I'm a liberal Democrat just because it seems to make more sense when you think about being a humanist. But I think in the powers that be, when it comes to being a minority, especially a minority that's not bringing a lot of money to their table,
right?
I don't think that they care. I mean, I think that's part of the problem. That's why the people are burning shit down, because I don't think that the Democrats have the best interest, and I don't think the Republicans have the best interest.
That's exactly what I said. I said racism lies on both sides of that, on Democrats and Republicans. It has nothing to do with politics. If you're racist, that's a human problem, right? You just don't like people for whatever they are, whatever it may be. That's a human problem. It has no political affiliation to it. But what's happening now is everybody's pointing the finger. Well, the Republicans are saying this and the Democrats are saying that. And I'm like, I'm a registered independent. I probably lean more towards the Democratic side only because when I'm sitting here listening to Tucker Carlson talking, I'm like, if you're lying to my face, I just don't like it. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of liars in the Democratic Party too. So I don't not fault them,
Man. I always thought it'd be so cool, like after having like the first Black president to have a first woman president. Like I really thought that'd be cool. Right. But I remember times where I look at Hillary and I'm thinking, you called the young Black guys like, apex predators.
I didn't like Hillary at all either.
I look into your eyes, soulless. That's not. There's so many. That's the other thing that trips me out is there's so many people. That's why I do again. I don't know what's real, what's not. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Anything's possible. Oh, aliens.
I'm the same way.
We're slaving for an alien colony? Maybe. Yeah. George Bush is a lizard? Maybe. I don't fucking know.
Could be. I like that. He's the clone. You know what I mean?
Who knows? I don't know. Something ain't right.
Why wouldn't we make clones, right? We've been talking about clones forever. Come on. Yeah. We're trying to make superhuman people. Right?
Whenever people are like, we're just learning about colonies on Mars, I'm like, I wonder how many people live on Mars right now. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe none. Probably none. But sometimes I think it could be. If you told me right now we've had a moon base since the 60s and aliens controlled it, and you had some pictures, in fact, I wouldn't believe you, but I wouldn't not believe you, bro.
We have no idea. We have no idea.
everything's fake. This isn't the 50s where it's like you go home, it's like Leave It to Beaver.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? History books are
Absolutely.
lied to you. You want to go to information, you got to go to the library, and the real books are hidden anyway. And you know what I'm saying? I don't know what's real. I don't know everything they told me. Pluto ain't a planet. I don't know what's fucking real anymore, dude.
And if you're in Hollywood like us, right? I mean, I got friends who are like, everything out of their mouth is about MK Ultra and Illuminati and all kinds of shit. And I'm like, do I believe there's clubs like that? Fuck yeah. There's Skull and Bones is a real thing. Knights of the Templar is a real thing. Like all these shit is real.
It's always been small groups.
Yeah, but we don't. I mean, unless you're in the certain elites or whatever, you would never know. Just like you didn't know that club in college, like you didn't know that fraternity what they did. You know? Here's
the truth, right? The truth is, and this is a scientific. I think Einstein said this shit, or someone like him. I can't give you the quote, so I'm not gonna. I don't know. But there's like a real theory that like the world couldn't necessarily exist as it is, as a whole thing, the way that we being interconnected and all that stuff without a small group of people running it. I mean, there's too many opinions, so there's always going to be a small group of people running it. It's just that, is it a utopia or is it a dystopia? Is it nefarious people in the shadows, doing it, or is it? And I don't know. I think humanity wise, that'll always happen anyway.
I think there will always be someone who wants to be in power.
Yeah.
And in this world, whoever has the most money is the power. Period. Yeah. Every war has been based off of some sort of power struggle, or I'm going to take your land because of the goods and services that are available. You know what I mean? I said, why do you think we make movies about robots who think logically destroying the human race? Because logically, they're like, you guys are fucking it up. Right? You know what I mean? You're fucking up the world. We're going to take you out. You're the virus. Right? Like,
I saw this video the other day, and it's like, did you know the mosquitoes are responsible for more human death than anything else? And I was like, maybe after humans, like maybe after us. But yeah, no, that's the truth, man. It's a weird thing. We're germs, baby.
Dude, this world is crazy right now. This is why I watch comedy on the daily, because if I don't watch comedy, you get caught up in the bullshit. Comedy is just comedy. It's like the only pure form of entertainment these days, because comics can still say shit that everybody else won't or can't, right? Because they still get backlash for some shit, but they're like, I'm a comic
nowadays.
You know what I mean?
And it's also, listen, I personally, I think, like I said earlier, the cancel culture is ridiculous. I think there's a lot of shit that's way too fucked up. Yeah. I've always believed that good comedy never punches down anyway. Mm-hmm. But the way that it is now, the truth is, if you want to punch down, you should be able to. I mean, because sometimes we have to laugh. One of my favorite jokes, I know he's like a villain now because he's a fucking pervert, but the orange-haired dude.
Are you talking about Louis C.K.?
Okay, Louis C.K. I don't say it's one of my favorite jokes, but on this type of thing, he made a really funny joke back in the day about how there was he was saying his nephew has like a peanut allergy, and they write on the wrapper some shit about like, this is peanut allergy. He said, how much time and energy goes into and money we put into like helping this kid with a peanut allergy. He's like, but if you think about it, even though it's horrible, it was called But Maybe. He's like, but maybe, we just let them all fucking die of peanut allergies, and then 20 years we don't have peanut allergies anymore because and so like things like that are horrible to say. We have to say them. It's hilarious. That's a hilarious thing. What's that thing, I always forget that shit, the guy Jonathan Swift or whatever, he did that article way back in the day, A Modest Proposal, what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Yeah, like way back in the day before people even knew what satire was.
Oh, right.
People
Okay.
joke saying that from the point of view of a rich person, telling the other rich people that in order to save money in our country, what we should do is help the poor by eating their children, cannibalizing them, and then a list of ingredients of how to eat poor babies. And what's crazy about how this was satire, half the country wanted him hung and killed, and the other half was like, not a bad idea, let's eat the babies, they're multiple. So it just shows like even satire, if not understood, that's how dumb people are. That they could hear satire, not get the joke behind it, and be like, "Yeah, that was a good idea. Let's eat babies. That'll save some." It says it on paper.
That's the human nature. That's humans being humans, because we're innately like, you either take one thing or the other and run with it. It's just like media and newscasts and whatever it is, because people used to believe when I was a kid, they're like, 2020 is the truth. I'm like, 2020 could be anything you want it to be because you could say anything you want.
Yeah.
Everything can be swayed or turned or edited and done, and it's worse now because now they take videos like a black baby and a white baby giving each other a hug, and then they cut it and then make the black baby walk away and say the white baby's a racist. You're like, what the fuck is that? Like, what the fuck is that? Now we're arguing over fucking syrup and all kinds of stupid shit. I'm like, like, do you really care that much about Aunt Jemima? Does anybody give a fuck that the syrup lady face is going away? Does anybody really care? Does it really hurt your inner soul that, oh my God, we don't have that syrup? Nobody cares. Not really, but everyone's jumping on the train. Well, yeah, we care because we have to if we're going to say this and you got to say that. And I'm like, I mean, come on. I mean, I see dudes.
So personally, I think all this stuff is also, it's deflecting. I think that a lot of times these groups have a great idea. It's like anything else,
Right.
Let's give freedom for everybody. And then that idea as a whole is such an important idea and everyone's on it. And then somebody, I don't know who they are, where they come from, but in the back of the crowd goes, and what about the fact that peanut butter and mixed with chocolate is like saying that Mexicans and blacks deserve to be together. And then everyone's like, yeah, let's kill the Twix bars. And everyone forgot about the industrial. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all misinformation. That's why I say like the one thing I believe in, I love that kids are burning down the city. The thing I don't know about is who's guiding them. And then what do we do once it's burnt? So it's all about like we have to show, okay, everyone's angry. Everybody wants to make a change. Okay, if we don't like the fact that the healthcare system is fucked up, I'm down. Let's burn up the fucking hospital. That's that's almost as bad as the baking companies. But do we have doctors on call? Which one of us trained to be a doctor? You? Okay, good. So then we and I'm not saying that we don't. I'm saying that to organize a real revolution, you have to have, when the fire is done, what's going to happen then? When all the buildings are from, we have the people that know how to build buildings. Do we have the people that want to do? And so what you do is if you want a real revolution, you have to have all that shit in advance. The problem is that every time we want to change something, it becomes about things that mean nothing to nobody that matter. And look, you know what does matter? It does matter if I'm a young kid, okay? Right. And I'll give you an example, right? I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm a little Jewish boy, because that's my experience. Right. And I put up a can of syrup and it's like kike cough syrup. What the fuck? Kike cough syrup? Right. Oh, well, and no one cared that you were called the kike, so they made a big Jew nose and it's kike cough syrup. Right. But if that does hurt a young man's image of who he is, seeing himself being betrayed, then maybe that does have a big effect. Maybe it doesn't. But a bigger problem is, other than that his feelings just got hurt, is that once he steps out the door, the whole world is designed for you to either make money for it or to go to jail and make more money for it. Right. I mean, I worked in the prison system as a teacher, teaching poetry and hip hop to kids. Okay. And the kids have an 88% recidivism rate. So, and most of them are getting, every person, the judge that's sentencing him, you're going to tell me he didn't skip school once to try to get a blowjob? You know what I'm saying? Like, exactly. The fuck out. Skips
for sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Skips gets a small truancy charge. And now, years later, I'm meeting him in a classroom where I'm teaching him poetry, and he's 17 years old, and he's still in jail for that because then he got into a fight somewhere, or then he got into an argument, or he trespassed, or he did whatever. But it all goes back to the truancy when he was 12 years old, trying to get a hand job under the bleachers.
When correctional facilities aren't made to correct anything in the first place.
This is the point that I was then making. Yeah. Each of these kids, and when I went there, this is a business, bro. Like these guys are making money. Each of these kids is worth like $100,000 to $300,000 a year. They don't want them to fucking leave. No. If it says the F word, he gets a mark. I ain't giving him no fucking mark because I'm part of a special services that comes in to teach him some cool shit or whatever. Right. But the teacher that's there, or the facilitator that's there, he gets a mark for saying F word. 10 F words, he stays there 10 more days. 10 of these, he stays there 10 more days. They don't give a fuck that this kid just used the F word. Everybody says the F word. The problem is that they know he's gonna say the F word. So now by him saying the F word, he stays there longer, which means next year their numbers are the same, so they get more money, it's the same tax break. Blase. It's all bullshit. Here's another issue that when people always talk about, but they've never seen it. So when I was teaching these classes, bro, there was literally classes. I'd have 30, 40 kids. Sometimes I'd have 5 kids. It was a great experience. It was always happening. And I'd have maybe 5-10 classes a day. The reason I'm saying that in the sea, and I don't know how else to say this, in a sea of black and brown faces, I met 2 white kids. Did this for 2-3 years at this one particular facility.
Right.
And I met 2 white kids. Now, here's where it gets crazy. White kid number 1 pulled a shotgun on his mom and then blew a hole in their fucking roof while threatening to kill her. Yes, he needs to be locked up. Lock that kid up.
Right.
White boy number 2 did basically the same thing, but at a liquor store that he was trying to rob because he had a crack habit at like 15.
Right.
Okay? Yes, he needs to be locked up. Dude's got some issues. We need to help him. But black boy number 1 through 2032 skipped school at 12 years old. Did truancy. You get what I'm trying to say? It's like it took a shotgun to his mom's face to lock up white dude, but it took being a kid walking down the street. Sometimes their excuse was they were going to school. They got picked up by the officer going the other way. Oh, well, you live over there. Yeah, but I live in Compton, motherfucker, and I have to pass 5 neighborhoods full of people that want to kill me, you son of a bitch. So I have to go this way. And so it's, bro, I'm telling you, it's all set up, man. We had a facility when the kids got out of jail, okay? This is another thing it shouldn't blow anybody's mind, but it will blow people's minds because people haven't been fucking paying attention. Right. But these kids, some of them, so, all right, here's my point before. They have an 88% recidivism rate, right? Through our poetry program, they had like a fucking 8% recidivism rate, bro. Okay? And yet, even though we were the only thing that was happening at the time that actually meant kids weren't coming back, we still had to put our budget. We had to do it. It was so hard to get it. We got kicked out of places. It was so hard, even though it was proof is in the pudding. Now, here's another thing. We had a program outside of the prison. So if the guy gets out of jail, doesn't know where he's going to go, doesn't know what he's going to do, needs a job, whatever it is, we have a job training center. We had all these different things set up. But it was in Culver City. It was just a place that they were able to set up this place. So a lot of these kids from Compton, whatever, would start to take the bus. And so these business owners, because in this area of Culver City, it's all businesses, right? So these owners would look out the window and be like, what are all these tatted up black kids doing here? Started calling the police. We had kids violating probation for showing up to the place that they are literally going so they can stay out of trouble, get a job, and educate themselves, whatever it is that we were offering for that particular student.
And people don't believe that. Isn't that crazy?
Bro, we had to call the police station and say, this is how fucked up, and let them know, hey, there's going to be calls because people suck, but a lot of black and brown boys are going to be getting off the bus here now in this nice area because we have a facility here. Bro, they had to move facilities 3 times because I don't know the political climate of it because I was just a teacher, but I know we had to move. I knew they didn't like this or they didn't like that. So this shit ain't new. This has been going around
shit through the system. Like I worked at a school in Anaheim, and they were mostly generations of Citron and East Side gang members, right? But they're in junior high. They're 12.
Right.
And at that time, which was like about 15 years ago, you can't legally fail. You can't fail a child without parent consent, right? So like a mom would come here and she's illegal and have kids because then you could stay here and then you get money, right? But then the school system would like push the kids through, even though the reason why they're failing is because they're in junior high, they can barely speak English, and they have English as a second language class while their other 5 classes were with English reading books. They couldn't read them. The teacher doesn't speak Spanish. They fail them, but they still push them to the next grade. I said, they're being bred, right? They're going to be gang members. They're going to have problems. These kids get raped. They end up in the system, and the system gets paid for that shit to happen. And you're like, how do you push a kid through who can't read? When I was a kid, if you actually would flunk and you'd stay in the same grade until you passed that grade. But they weren't doing that. Why? Because there was too many kids when they can just let them go, end up in jail. They'll give them a couple of years. The kids are in juvie and whatever else.
Well, your kids are failing, you get less budget. It all goes back to money, like kids got to pass or we ain't got no money,
Yeah. So I was like, damn, how do you get out of that system? But then some people don't want to believe that happens. And I go, look, even as a black kid in Orange County, and I came from Long Beach to Orange County, so it was like all black to like barely any black, but literally only 15 minutes apart, right?
Yeah.
So when I went to Orange County, it was like the racism that I would experience, nobody ever saw because I was usually by myself, like walking home, getting stopped by a cop, like, where are you going? And I'm like, I'm going home. I lived in the fucking neighborhood. Like, you know what I mean?
100%.
But I happened to be so busy with sports and whatever. I didn't have time to get in trouble. but it was definitely there. I mean, it was there all the time. And I would see, I'm like, so when I ask people, like this one girl was talking about privilege, and I go, it's not, privilege doesn't mean you get shit for me. Privilege means you don't get stopped because you're going home. You know what I mean? Just in your own neighborhood. I got pulled over in front of my house like 3 times. Where are you going? Home. Where do you live?
It's
right there.
Just look. It's like little defeats every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I was making a point. Don't ruin my career without making the point.
I know, right? You're like, let me make this. What was that point? Well, because it went from kids pushing kids to the system to me saying getting pulled over in my own neighborhood just for being black when I lived there.
Oh, right. And you're saying people don't understand that perspective or whatever.
Right.
It's shit like that. It's like don't you don't know, like, so what Sally, you know, Sally Susan is driving down the street and the cop drives by and smiles at her and she smiles at him and, oh, that's her experience. You know what I'm saying? But then he straight up grills the dude, you know, driving by. I mean, I've had cops grill me, not because, you know what I'm saying, they because of the color of my skin, but I looked like a criminal at that moment or whatever it was, and it was a bad feeling. If that happened everywhere I went, it's like small deaths. It's like every day you know, there's, what's that Pac had that line, you know, what do you say, some people, like, you know, you could die 1,000,000 deaths, a soldier dies but once, right? You know, somebody gives you just a slight, you know, you smile at the old lady in the grocery store and she moves her purse away. You know, you walk down the street and the people, you know, move to the other side of the street. You know, these are like little personal deaths. And when I say a soldier dies but once, a soldier goes, hold up, motherfucker, what the fuck is that about? Why the fuck did you hide your purse? And now locked up, whatever. If we're going back in the day, Emmett, you know, Till shit, where I said one thing to a fucking white lady, and now my life's over. So it's like you can either experience 1,000 small deaths until you finally can't take it anymore, or you just deal with it, or you don't. You get what I'm trying to say? Like that's
absolutely. And
I know you get what I'm.
Yeah, and I've dealt with all kinds of stupid shit like that. You know, like people always, you know, being followed around a fucking store because they think you're gonna steal, bullshit like that. You're like,
that's how we used to stores when I was younger, man. That was like a known thing. Like my boy Fat Boy and Terrence were 2 brothers, big dudes, still some of my best friends in the world. They would run into the store. Everybody in the store, oh, there's a 6 foot tall fat black guy and his brother, and they're wearing their clothes are kind of baggy. They'd go follow them, and I'd go swipe all the shit that we fucking needed. Go get some apps from behind the counter, some chocolate bars.
Right.
And then we'd make it out, and they're still in there. They'll go buy something. They follow them to there and everything. And I just fucking took, you know, and people have been doing that for years. I've heard people, you know, mention shit like that. So that's bro. I remember one of this time I used to serve, you know, back when I was younger. I was hustling like everybody else, and a couple of my friends some of them were minorities. So like I was normally with them when I was doing what I was doing at that moment, and so they had a way about doing things. Especially like let's meet up at the mall, get something to eat, you know, say at the food court, blah, blah, blah. And then I remember that I broke off and I was dealing with this dude. I'm not gonna say his name, but he met up with me, and I was thinking, okay, let's meet up at the Target, go meet up somewhere at the mall, whatever. And he's like, oh no, just come over here, blah, blah. I opened the door. He's like, here you go. And he fucking threw me the fucking backpack, and I grabbed it. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, bro, what are you doing, man? You gonna get us arrested? And I'll never forget, dude looked at me and goes, what are you talking about? We're white. And he hopped in the car and drove off. And I was like, bro, that's the experience. This dude just sold me like 20 pounds of weed in the middle of the street. No fear. And there's people that are just walking down the street scared for their lives.
Well, like, that whole stop and frisk and whatever.
Yeah. But this dude, but he's doing it. No, bro, we're white. Yeah, that happened. I remember just thinking like that's a dynamic. Because I tell you what, if I went with some of the other people, they would have been freaking the fuck out. They would have been like, no deal. I ain't fucking with you. Meet me in the mall, you know, meet me wherever. It ain't happening.
A lot of people don't believe that. Even some black people don't believe that because they're so like, no, you're just saying things that you're oppressed because whatever experience they had. I go, look, you can't deny the fact that shit happens like that. 2 white guys walking down the street, both AR-15 legal gun owners, right? First guy walks, and they're doing like a documentary about it, right? One guy walks down same street. Cop pulls up, gets out of the car, asks him a bunch of questions. 2 hours later, the black guy does the exact same thing. It's all on camera. 7 police cars, guns drawn, get on the floor, on your back, and he's a legal gun owner, no criminal record, just like the other guy. Don't tell me it's not different.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is different.
You know what I mean?
And is I kind of misspoke before because you were saying like, there's like you said, there's black guys that feel this way, or there's Mexican guys. When I was in Florida, there's a lot of Cuban guys that really, especially the white Cubans, that were like, no, I'm a Republican, I'm a white Republican, they'll take care of me.
Right.
You believe that, and it's probably from what happened with Castro that they're trying to do the exact opposite. But like, you're not. If most minorities just aren't taken care of unless you have people to take care of you.
I told my brother-in-law, I said, it doesn't matter how Republican you are. It doesn't matter if you wear a MAGA hat. When you go to certain country clubs, you're black. It doesn't matter that you love Trump. They don't care. Yep. You're black.
Hey, check it out, man. My brother, he was in the military. He actually went to Israel, served in the IDF and everything. He wanted to do his thing, and he came back out here. He loves motorcycles, so he loves guns and motorcycles. He's Jewish. And a friend of his was like, oh, bro, you should come talk to this motorcycle gang. And my brother's like, well, most motorcycle gangs, that their views are not going to be in line with mine. From my understanding, a lot of them are, fucking racist crackers. You know what I'm saying? But he's like, oh, no, these guys are cool. These guys are cool, man. Come through. Nothing like that. There's a bunch of different people. Okay, cool. So he starts coming. My brother was taking a road trip down to like just meet these people, just to be like, maybe it's people I can ride my motorcycle with. I was like, Jeremy, don't go. Halfway there, he gets a call from his friend. He's like, bro, turn around. These motherfuckers, they just found out you were a Jew and they are freaking out. And I'm like, bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, Jeremy, you love guns. You love motorcycles. You were in the military. You're going to have a lot of hard times finding friends because a lot of the people that agree with a lot of them are aligned with the other thing. So, but my point is this, it's about experience, right?
Right.
If a black guy grows up in Beverly Hills with $1 billion, his experience is not, he's still going to have this lights.
But it's different. Yeah, you're right. It's still going to have some stuff, but it's different.
Yeah, it's like they say, hey, N-word in a suit is an N-word in a suit. You know what I'm saying? Like a black guy could still get shot by a cop. They don't know he's a bank financier. Well,
it happened. Shouldn't matter. The guy was a professor, got pulled over because somebody said the black guy went away in his car and they pulled him over and harassed him. But he was a professor at the university. Our
children, but So it doesn't matter, even though his experience will obviously be better than others. But then there's also like every experience counts. There's a difference between Eminem and Ice Baby. You know what I'm saying? Vanilla Ice, Vanilla Ice was racial appropriating. Eminem grew up with a lot of homies.
8 Mile. That's real shit. Right. Yeah, you know what I mean?
You can't. It's not all race. There's a lot of background. There's a lot of you can't just look at one person. If you looked at my dad towards the end of his life, he would hang out at the bar all the time. He would love to go to the beach. His skin would get kind of like brown, and he used to always look like a regular Jewish dude, but towards the end, he kind of looked like a hillbilly-ish, kind of dark-skinned guy drinking beer all day. He marched with fucking Martin Luther King. You know what I'm saying? You can't always judge everybody. But at the same time, the second someone's like, oh, well, this shit don't matter, it's all lives matter, like that, you can judge. That's
and Huntington Beach is known for skinheads, right? And I grew up playing soccer there, Orange County. But now I'm grown, and I was partying with this dude at this house. Now the dude is bald with fucking tats all the way around it. He looks like like American History X type motherfucker, right? Yeah. But I knew this dude in college. Fucking, he's like the sweetest guy ever, but he just looks mean. So we go to this bar, and
it's just tattoo.
No swastikas, just tattoos, right? So, but he's got the typical Orange County, Huntington Beach bro kind of look, right? Well,
one of those there might be a swastika if you look close enough inside of all that.
I don't know, but I was the one dude he liked, right? So we go to this bar, and it's called I think it's called Black Bull, right? And outside are all these people. It's a predominantly white bar in Huntington. When I get out of the car with him, I shit you not, everybody fucking froze. It was like the leader of the Aryan Nation walked into a bar with the black guy, but he was the manager. So everybody, it was like I couldn't be touched. They were like don't fuck with him. He's here with the manager.
Oh, those other guys were on some.
In the bar, there's a bunch of people in there that are very Aryan Nation, alt-right type motherfuckers, right? But I was with him, and I just rolled in like there was nothing. I was like, whatever. And I just was doing my thing and drinking drinks. You know what I mean? Because in Huntington Beach, all the girls on the low wanted to be with black dudes, but they couldn't tell their friends because their friends were racist, right? It was just so on the low, they'd be like, oh, but they couldn't, they sneak out and do whatever. But
from it.
yeah,
They came down Caucasus Mountains, bro, and they saw us
did.
walking around. The Jews were on the left and the blacks were on the right, and they were like, let's go. The women already started looking. It was too late. You know?
Oh, we're going there. And it's like, damn.
No, honey, let's just go down there and see what it's like.
Right. I know they got good music, you know. But dude, yeah. I mean, right now the world's crazy. Like I talked to my buddy Miguel right before this, and he was like, he's like, I don't know what to do. I go, don't do anything. Just be a human, man. Like you gotta like bob and weave. You gotta live your life, deal with your friends and family, block out all the motherfuckers, you know. And like you said, just like Hollywood, you're gonna get to a point in Hollywood where, especially if you're black, even if you're Tyler Perry or Jamie King or something, Jamie King, and people like that, Jamie Foxx, I should say, someone's going to be like, you're the greatest, Grammy / Oscar winner, but you're a black guy, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, Tyler Perry, that's why he slapped everybody in the face, because he's still, for as big as he is, still gets shit in Hollywood. They don't take him, like, how do you not take Tyler Perry seriously?
Atlanta. I mean, I hope he doesn't drive too far into Georgia, so, you know, God forbid. You know what I mean? Like this, like you said, doesn't
past Decatur, you got problems.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's an issue, and that's really all it is, man. I mean, I get annoyed by it because I feel like talking about it sometimes makes you feel like, oh, look at me, I'm an ally. I mean, I mean, you know, like, you know, I know who the fuck I am,
right?
Regurgitated memes, and I just don't know. But my point is that I feel that way when I want to talk about it. So then people that talk about it a lot, who are raising awareness, which is a positive thing, but I just don't know if I trust them. You know, if I believe in the message, but do I believe that you are there? But does that even matter? I mean, that's the thing. Like, at the end of the day, if 100 people are like, I'm not racist and I'm not a part of that thing, like, of course, some of them are going to be.
But it is what it is. So what? You know what I mean? You'd be like, so you're racist. Okay, cool. You know what I mean? My whole thing is what's going on in the background where everybody's focusing on this shit, right? I'm like, everybody's like this, tunnel vision, George Floyd and racism and Aunt Jemima and some fucking statues. Meanwhile, over there, some dude's either fucking getting rich or starting a war or cloning people. You don't even know it. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. People are enslaved right now in other countries right now. Like, there's a lot of things that we could be focused on. Hunger, we're destroying the planet. Like, you know, they have found a way to keep us fighting, dude. Mm-hmm. And I don't know who they are. That's the other thing too, is when I say, I know a lot of people are like, they might mean the lizard people. When they say they might mean the lizard.
Right.
So I don't mean
walking around and be like, we own all your shit, right?
You know, all in mass fucking each other with horses and shit. Like,
right? Yeah. Like, I got the goat head too. You're like, right. Like, you know. I
just know this, that people, human beings, right? Mm-hmm. We are majority. We are legend. We are legion. There's millions of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot less cops than there are people. There's a lot less whites than there are minorities. There's a lot less rich than there is poor. Mm-hmm. So they are at a serious danger at all times of people saying, I'm going to go through your fucking window and take what's in your food. I mean, you go back to that Pac shit, you know, we are hungry. Please let us in. You know, talk about that whole speech.
Yeah.
If you don't, shame on you, go watch it, because he'll say it better than I do. But my point is, I don't mean shame on you, but you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, at the end of the day, man, it's like there is a true danger for a rich, comfortable person to think, you know, there's only one of these mansions and there's about 50 Section 8 housings in that neighborhood. Like, if we don't keep them distracted and fighting about idiosyncrasies or little things, you know, then you know, we're in trouble. You know, we're in trouble because they're gonna come take what they rightfully deserve. There's enough in this world for everybody, bro. There's more enough in this world for everybody, and there's enough people with dreams and aspirations to do things that don't need can I eat hanging over your head to do it. You know, they'll lie to you and say, oh, well, we need this whole situation because then, you know, Johnny Appleseed won't grow up to become a doctor and stop cancer. Johnny Appleseed can't even become a doctor because he can't afford to be a fucking doctor. Right. So it's a fallacy, bro. If everybody had mostly what they need, the world would be fine until people in power fuck it up again. And
take all the fucking toilet paper out of the grocery store. Yeah. Right. Everybody needs to take shit and monitor that shit, because I was like, damn, no fucking toilet paper. But fuck, dude, it's so good to talk to you. It's been too fucking long.
It has, dude.
A long time.
It has. You always see, it's weird because, you know, we don't talk, and that's another thing that's weird about the world today. Like, me and you don't get to talk that much, but you're kind of present in my life. I see your social media postings. I'll comment on it. You comment on mine. Funny how that works. Like, it's great to talk to you and like actually see you again.
That's the part about technology I love. I'm like, shit, I can just do
I love that too. I love that too. I also think sometimes it makes us late because even though it's great, because I wouldn't have seen you as much if it wasn't for that. Maybe I would have called you more though, and we could add more interpersonal relationships. You know, more deep conversations or depth between us. Yeah, man. Everything's a relationship, right? I wonder how. There's friends where I'm like, oh, I see them all the time. No, I don't. I live in LA. Most of my friends are all over the fucking world. Florida, you know, where I come from and shit. So, or Tennessee. So like, if I'll be like, oh, my boy Turtle, right? He just had a business. I'm like, yo, man, Turtle had a business. I liked it. I super liked that shit. Right. And then later I didn't talk to him. I'm like, oh yeah, I just told Turtle I like this business. And then he called me earlier today. He's like, yo, Matt, man, how's everything, bro? I'm like, good, man. I'm like, business good. He's like, yeah, dude, about time we talk about it. I'm like, no, I congratulate you. No, I didn't. I super liked it. Like, with the you know, I put a heart in. You know.
It's all about the emoji, man. You got to put the right emoji, or they don't understand what you're saying these days because we don't communicate like we should, right?
And you ever say something, someone gives you a thumbs up, you're like, what the fuck does that mean?
They're like, in certain countries, that's the same as this one, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
they're like, hey, up your butt, man. They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
dude, the world's nuts, man. But shit, we got to do this again because I'm going to keep track on what you're doing and definitely want to support what you're doing. I'm going to end this shit like a real TV show. And, you know, and say, you know, dude, keep doing your shit. Keep doing it. The funny is always there. And I'm all about the funny because without the funny, the fucking world would be a toilet. And I don't want to get flushed down that shit. You know what I mean? So we'll talk, brother. I appreciate you, man. All right.
I appreciate you.
Talk to you soon, brother. All right, man. Peace.
Wake up, it's the Tim Stevenson Show.